Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Call to order at 1 p.m. And I'll go ahead and call roll. Terry Majewski is here. Savannah McDonald.
Here.
Ricky Rioja.
Here.
Joel Ireland.
Here.
Jan Mulder.
Here.
And Commissioner Griffith has resigned from the full commission. She's still officially listed as a member of PRS, but we'll remove her at the next full commission meeting. Her schedule was just getting to be too much for her to balance and manage. So anyway,
Terry, I didn't hear what name you said. I'm sorry.
Carol Griffith is no longer on the commission. But she's still officially listed on PRS and has to be officially removed. But we're fine. Then we'll go down to a quorum of 5. Okay, right now, and not a quorum, but a total number as 5 with a quorum of 3. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we're fine today. We've got 5 people I mentioned. Item 2 is approval of legal action report / minutes for the meeting of January 25th, 2024. And who will move to approve as submitted?
I'll move to approve the legal action report for the meeting of January 25th, 2024 as submitted.
Thank you. And who will second?
I'll second. This is Jan.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion about that document? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and call roll. Terry says aye. Savannah?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Okay. Joel?
I was not present, so.
Well, you can still vote aye.
Yeah, I'll vote aye, trusting my other commissioners. Yes, of course.
Okay, and Jan?
Aye.
Okay, passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, item 3 is historic preservation zone review cases. We review these under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0.0/historic district design guidelines and the revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. Did you say case 3A came or no?
This year.
They are here.
Is Greg here? Did you see him? Oh yeah, Greg is here. He's our applicant for.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read that. I'll start that then. Our first case is 3A SD 1123-00134 at 627 South 9th Avenue for construction of 138 square foot first floor addition to a single family home. It's a full review in the Barrio Historic Preservation Zone. It's a non-contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. And Jody, do you have any background, please?
Yes. This project was heard by Barrio Historico on January 15th. They voted to approve the project with the following conditions. 1, that there's a solution for the roof with parapet that reaches the beam. 2, the cistern is relocated to the original location. 3, the scupper matches the original design. 4, the utilities will be hidden from view. 5, the windows will match the existing even though it's not consistent with the design guidelines and it will not set a precedent. And the motion was passed unanimously. And the applicant, Greg Vitek is here to present. And Greg, I've made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen.
Thank you, Jody.
Great, thank you. Okay, so this project is on South 9th Avenue. This is a Rob Hollis project, and there is an existing second floor deck that is indicated here that the project will be essentially filling in the space below that second floor deck. Here's another aerial right here. So it will have no change in the existing footprint. The carport will stay intact. The front yard will stay intact where you see that existing tree. The one change, as Jody mentioned, is the recommendation is to move a cistern, which is currently under the deck, back to the location next to the carport. When that area gets filled in with construction. So here's the proposed addition. We're currently proposing a secondary entrance. This is a studio, essentially. So the existing entrance is indicated here. The proposed entrance it will be connected and accessible through this residence, but it's going to have its own sort of distinct use. There will be no changes to the existing residence on the inside or on any of the facades except for the filled-in addition. And the street frontage will also, which we'll show shortly, is a street wall that will not change either. Here's just a quick idea of what it might look like. Entrance, a window, some storefront, some storage, and maybe a connection through to the bathroom. Once again, the parking does not change. And the courtyard access does not change. So west elevation, this is the street facing elevation. No change on this elevation, but I'll show one shortly that you will be able to see the addition. South elevation, so this is the existing property line. It's built, this is a commercial zone, or an office zone, so it's built right to the property line, and there's currently a hole which is filled with like galvanized corrugated metal that will be filled in with CMU and stucco to match the existing block wall. That's the side of the addition. And then the north elevation, the east elevation have no changes. So here's a section labeled elevation, but it's a section through the site walls. And here's the new proposed, basically front elevation of the house. The recommendation from the neighborhood board was to, instead of using a sloped condition, use a parapet condition such that the deck framing, which is steel, appears to sort of hover above the parapet, and so it fills in that space completely rather than being able to see any of that low slope roof, which would inherently not match the existing roof. The existing roof is rusted corrugated. This slope is too low for rusted corrugated, so we'd have to do built up TPO, EPDM, et cetera, et cetera. So the recommendation was to go with the parapet that just barely touches or goes right below the existing structure. The carport structure would remain unchanged. The existing aluminum framed windows and doors would remain unchanged, and our proposed door and storefront window would match the existing. So this is the location along the block. There's Meyer and 9th. And so we'll show some elevations now of these houses. So to start off, this is our project here. This is the street front elevation. So the color of the stucco you see here will be used in the addition as well. And then the steel is the same steel, rusted steel that's in the deck. And we are not proposing any steel treatment in our addition. And then highlighted are the contributing properties in the development zone. Right next door is a new residence that's just been finished at 615, was just finished construction. That's actually right here. It's to the left of this photo. And here's some more. And the development zone, I think this is slightly improperly noted, but the development zone is actually here. So apologies for that misrepresentation. And I think, let me just one more slide here. So materials, once again, this is the existing window that's adjacent to our addition. So we will be matching this. We'll be matching, this is a roster block construction house. So it's stuccoed inside and outside, and we'll be matching that. We'll be matching the finish color on the exterior. And then for roofing, we're going to go with a flat roofing system and finish. But once again, that will be hidden by the recommended parapet. And I think that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Are there, who would like to start with questions?
I can start. A couple questions. The addition is in front of the bathroom. What happens to the existing window of the bathroom?
The existing window of the bathroom will be removed. There is continuous mechanical ventilation, so we shouldn't have a problem meeting code. The one thing that will be interesting is that wall has the vent as a surface vent, which will have to be moved. And it also has the electrical service entrance and the water service entrance. So those will be moved to the front of the new addition. And the same plane just pushed closer forward.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that leads me to my next question is the HVAC strategy.
There is, so let me note maybe on the plan here. Okay, so there is an existing exposed duct, spiral duct here. We're thinking at this point, doing a manual J-calc, making sure we have the right pipe diameter and doing something like this, potentially. We're hoping not to do an independent mini split. We're hoping to keep it on the same system, basically.
Okay, so no new exposed mechanical next year, I guess is the root of my question.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay, your drawings don't currently represent the west wall as a parapet condition, but you are acknowledging that the recommendation by the advisory board is that you are going to do that. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And that, I mean, you're talking about new water service, electrical service, now a parapet condition, and also you'll need a scupper and a downspout.
Correct.
I think I know it's concealed from the street, but we don't have, that's a lot of items that we don't see currently represented on the drawing.
Okay.
So I guess we should think about that if we just want to note all that. I mean, maybe you talk about that. Like what would the location of the downspout and scupper be? What is the design of that?
Sure, yeah. So in the original drawings and the photographs that were taken before this property owner purchased this property, there were two cisterns here, and there is basically a downspout and then piping that goes to these here. Now, the existing cistern is placed in this corner. That cistern will be removed. It will be moved back to this location. And the downspout, which actually is here, and it gets routed over here, that downspout will either drain onto the flat roof or we'll have to build it up. At this point, we're planning on draining it to the flat roof and then having a scupper either above the door because it fits with the framing, or we'd move it over here, do a condition where we put it into the ground because of the height. We have the head. This is unpaved currently, and then we would put it into the cistern here. At that point, we don't necessarily know yet. What we're proposing, regardless of the location of this downspout and scupper, it would match the existing, which is square stock rusted steel. And then it would, like I was saying, it would either enter and do a wet system back up to these. Well, they're not really, I guess it's like relocated because this is the original location. Someone moved them previously. So the relocated cisterns, but they're back where they kind of should be according to the design. And there is an existing, yeah, I think that's actually it regarding where the cisterns are now that I'm thinking about it.
So Greg, the cisterns will be moved per the barrio, correct?
Correct, yes. And they will be moved back to be clear, they will be moved back to the location that they're indicated on the accessible construction drawings from this project. So it's going to be back at that original location. Yeah.
Okay. Savannah, what else do you have?
Uh, I think that, I mean, I think that answers all my questions. It's just a lot that's not represented currently in the drawings but it all sounds fine and it gets concealed anyways from the street. So I mean, I think it's fine. Thank you, Greg. I mean, we're just missing that in the drawing. So I guess when we
Right.
just have to be comprehensive in our motion.
Yeah, to include that, right, so that it be
Yeah.
on there.
I have the red full, oh,
What?
sorry, Terry. I
Go
have
ahead.
the red pin ad pulled up, if you guys wanna see where the cisterns were. Like, how it was.
Yeah, can we see that, please?
So this is before the current owners bought it. But you can see so these are the gates and the fences that face out onto 9th, right, Greg? Am I getting that right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so here's one of the cisterns, and you can see the scupper drainage that's going into it.
And so it'll go back that way.
That's correct. And there actually should be, if you look at the existing, sorry, if you look at the construction drawings, there's 2 cisterns located in that area. And I think what we would like to propose is, if possible, and okay, there's also some concrete here. This concrete doesn't actually exist anymore. It's been removed. So there's a location for another cistern. The amount of water coming off this roof feels more appropriate to have 2 of these than 1. And this location here, let me note, 1 moment here. This cistern in the back
This one.
would go here, right? And so either it would have a wet system that goes under here and comes up, or perhaps joining this one. That seems to be a secondary option. I prefer the wet system, but that's what we would be doing.
So, but when the scupper comes out of the new wall, will we see a downspout, or will it be like going in the wall and underground?
No, yeah, you will see that's a great point. You will see a downspout that is the same dimension and material as the existing downspout that you see there. And another point that I'd like to make is, behind this cutesy thing, this like piece of furniture here, is the electrical panel. So that will, and the water service entrance, that will move to the front of the new addition, which would be framed in under the deck here.
Can you
Can I
show that
ask-
station again and show where those are going?
Greg,
Yeah,
Right.
sorry, I was getting there. So those are currently in this location, and they would be moved. Sorry, 1 second. They would be moved to this wall here.
Sorry, what does that represent? Electrical service?
That is an electrical service and water service entrance, but so say that's an electrical service entrance. It's all grouped together.
Is that the location that the neighborhood wanted it moved to, or they wanted it in a different spot from that one on the front of the addition?
That is what they, as far as I understand, that is what they recommend. The thing that they also noted is that it needs to be screened in its current condition. So from the street, it needs to be screened and less accessible. Sorry, less visually accessible. It's currently on the front of the house, so it's not any more screened than that.
Is that because you can see through the garage door, sort of?
Sort of here. Let me get to that. So this is the condition. There is, you can kind of see some like reflectors off of the car inside. It's difficult to see, but it is possible if you moved up to the gate and looked in.
Yeah, you can see through those.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question. What was the neighborhood's issue with was it the windows, even though they don't follow the design guidelines to keep them? Is that because they're already in there or?
Because they're aluminum and Barrio typically frowns upon aluminum windows. But since this is a non-contributor and a recent build, with aluminum, they weren't gonna make him get the wood.
Okay, and these are already installed?
On the house proper, the part that's already built.
I see. Okay, so any new windows would also be aluminum to match the existing?
Correct.
Okay. It just wasn't clear to me. I'm sorry. Okay, Savannah, were you good on your questions?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. Thank
Okay,
you.
Jan?
I guess two things. One, on the utilities and the screening that Ario asked for, I mean, could you do, given all the metalwork that's around there, could you do some sort of metal screening of the utilities just offset from the front?
I think that you could, but per TEP guidelines, you just have to space it pretty far off of the front. So the front elevation, it is possible, but it would impede on the existing carport area. Which here, let me just go back to the plan quickly.
Is the addition though is still set under the deckaways or not?
No, it's set directly. So the compositional element that we're thinking is that the deck beam sits directly above it. So it would hold that exact plane. So this would be on the wall that would be under that. That's the current proposal.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Jan,
then you said there were two options for this, the cistern. One was more in the parking area. Because the one of them is remaining where it is that correct? And then you're relocating the other?
Correct. You got it.
So, but you showed two options for the relocation. You said one might be side by side and one might be more, it might be closer to the addition.
No, I think that we would want the cisterns kind of in this. What we're using is the construction documents that are available to relocate those cisterns, and they're in about this location so that you can maintain accessibility through this area here to this front door. What I was saying is what we're proposing is doing a downspout and then having a subgrade wet pipe system to this cistern because we have enough head to make that work.
Okay. Now, in your redlining, I thought you were showing us secondary options, so I got it. Okay.
are you good, Jan?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Ricky or Joel?
This is Joel. No, I thought the questions, sussed out the issues that I had and so I think it's a nice plan. Even though the windows aren't normally acceptable, I think they have a nice look for this non-contributing building, so I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Joel.
Now that we
Ricky?
sussed it out with the questions and things.
Okay, Ricky?
I just want to clarify, so on that window for the bathroom that's getting removed and stuccoed over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
We didn't-
because that would now be enclosed in the new space.
Okay. I have, well, I do have one other question. Do you know when you were planning on making these design decisions? Because it seems like you had like a couple options here. You're not quite sure which one you're going to take yet. And I know that we kind of do need to see, at least Jody and Michael need to see a plan with those included. Or do you know when you would be making those decisions?
Some of the decisions we've already talked about with the client after the neighborhood meeting, but we were looking to get feedback before making those decisions. I don't know if that clarifies at all, but I guess soon would be the answer. We're working with a contractor right now to sort of develop the plan going forward. So very, very soon, I guess.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Yeah, well, so I think we have a couple of options here. We could, and we've done this in the past where we note in the motion that these things have to be on the plans and that rather than coming back to us with, I mean, we could request that, or we could just say that they would be subject to Jody and Michael's review because they'll see the final plans, right, Jody and Michael?
We will, so a decision letter gets issued with the conditions that the director has decided on. And then they will have to resubmit revised plans based on those conditions. And it comes back as part of the permit, it'll come back to historic review for that. Historic being me or Michael.
Right, and I mean, and we could also ask for even a minor review, but I think these are in the category that they could be reviewed by Jody and Michael, if the rest of you agree with that. And if you do, then we need somebody to make a motion.
I'm prepared to do that. I took some notes, so
Oh,
I think
okay.
but let me check it with everyone before I
right.
do so. I was gonna mention the cistern move, the existing bathroom window to be removed, that no new mechanical equipment to be visible, that the electrical and water service entrance moved to the new wall. I will say I saw in the advisory board's motion about what utilities will be hidden from view. I mean, it's sort of an existing condition and it is screened to some extent. So I think a little bit it is what it is, and it's sort of definitely not making it worse. It's just sort of, it's consistent and that it's just moving a little bit forward. So I think that's okay, unless you guys want to see some change to screening.
Well, maybe you could just say, will be screened to the extent practicable or possible, or whatever. I mean,
Okay.
I don't object because it is, that is typical of those kinds of properties anyway. That the extensive screening and all that is not really, I think a lot of them do have them in the front.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't gonna say anything about the windows because those are described in the document set. Do you guys feel like we need to say something about that?
Unless we just say that it's not setting a precedent, that would be the only thing.
Okay, I'll mention
Just
that.
because the neighborhood seemed concerned that by allowing the aluminum that somebody might use it to justify in the future, even though it's not contributing.
Correct.
Okay, did you have any other points, Savannah?
And then finally, the west wall will be the parapet type to conceal the roof, and that the new scupper and downspouts proposed to be rested. So
Oh, and then
sound
changes to be the plans to be fully updated
okay.
and for PDSD review. And again, as Jody said, that would be depending on what the director decides goes in the decision letter. But I mean, we're pretty consistent with what the barrio is saying.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. All right, well,
Go ahead.
on the matter of SD-1123-00134 at 627 South 9th Avenue, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented, including the noted described changes as acceptable within the following list: that the cistern move to the original location, that the existing bathroom window to be removed, that no new mechanical equipment to be visible, that electrical and water service entrance move to the new wall and be screened to the extent possible by the existing garage door. The aluminum windows and doors are acceptable but should not set a precedent for the neighborhood. That the west wall to be a parapet type that conceals the new roofing with a new square scupper and downspout rusted to match existing, and that plans to be updated to reflect this for PDSD review.
Great. Is there a second?
This is Ricky, I'll second.
Okay, nice motion, Savannah. Okay, is there further discussion on Savannah's motion? And I was distracted by Joel's cute dog. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we'll go ahead. If there's no discussion, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. Terry says aye. Savannah,
Aye.
Joel,
Aye.
Jan,
Right,
Ricky.
Aye.
Thank you. It passes unanimously 5-0. Greg, do you have any questions for Jody or Michael?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, we will go ahead with item 3B, which is SD 1223-00144 at 945 North 5th Avenue. This is to renovate a garage to a hobby or guest room. It's a full review in the West University Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource. We'll use the rehabilitation standards. Jody, do you have background, please?
Yes, so this property was heard by the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board on January 16th. I have to get my glasses so I can actually see what I'm reading. It was approved with the following conditions. 1, removal of the stone features. 2, no glass block. 3, 2 light divided window on the east elevation and a double hung window on the west elevation. And 4, materials are consistent with the West University design guidelines, and that was approved unanimously 4-0. And the applicant, Peter Zarillo, is here, and the property owner, Mindy Bernstein, is also here.
Great.
Peter, Peter, you're muted, so you'll have to unmute. And did you want me to share my screen?
No.
Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little, if you move your mouse, there's a little microphone that has a slash through it. If you click on that microphone, it will unmute you because you're still muted, Peter. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want me to share my screen for you?
Would you please? I don't have the availability that the other gentleman had on the plans. Do you have that availability?
Yeah, give me a second and I'll share my screen.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. What we have here is what we're trying to do here is there's an existing structure on the property that was a garage, and we are trying to reutilize it for a hobby and guest room. If you look at the pictures, Jody, if you can get the pictures of the front.
Those are contributing. Hold on. I have a lot of tabs open for this,
I know, right?
so it takes a
Appreciate
minute.
it.
Oh, here you go.
There it is. That's the front of the structure that actually faces the street. As you can see, it's in pretty bad shape. What our intent is to take from the header off the entire structure and rebuild using the existing lower walls and rebuild a truss roof system, which is the same height as the existing structure is now, and match the roof system with which is on the main house. We have the same shingles available currently to put on this this old garage. We are going to extend the front out a little bit to put a patio of approximately 6 foot, but the shape of the structure is the same. The roof is the same on the extension. What we're utilizing is we're using the same wood windows as the existing residence. And as you may have noticed, or the previous comment, there was glass block we were going to use at 2 of the windows. And we're now going to just make those into the same windows as on the regular facade. If Okay, you can see the situation on the property, so she's trying to upgrade everything and make it a usable space. If
And
you
so
can
what are
go
those
to
wood
the,
double- are those wood double hung? What will they be? What type of window?
they're wood double hung windows, which are on the residence. She has a bungalow style, and we're kind of, we had the stone on there, which is around the stem wall and stuff that we were going to utilize, which the West University didn't like that idea, so we're removing that.
Okay.
But the windows are all going to match the existing residence. We're going to try to utilize the sand finish, stucco finish. The structure itself has got 3 or 4 different types of finish on it from years of being repaired. So we're going to tie it all together with one finish. We do have to extend the wall up on the south side for fire code. The building itself is a continuation of the actual south building wall that separates that from the other property. This was built, the original house was built in 1910. We're not actually sure what time this structure was built, but it has some of the looks of maybe a possible old carriage house from some of the structural issues on the inside that I noticed, but I don't know for sure. So we're filling in where the front, if you notice on the original picture, it was just a big opening. We're going to use that for the garage, the door, and also a window wall to get a lot of natural light in there. Okay. To the left, Jody, where the sink is, that's where we have glass block right there. And then to the far right, upper right corner of the plan, right corner, a little bit further over. There you go. That's where there was an opening before. We're not sure if there was a possible window there, but we were going to make that into a high window now instead of the glass block. Pretty much, we're just trying to utilize the existing structure as much as possible and bring it back to probably what you might say its original look. If you look at the front of the elevation right now, the north elevation, that door and the windows are where the opening is. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the existing elevation as it is today. Okay, so we're utilizing the same kind of opening and stuff like that and filling in with the window and the door as access into the property. Okay, we have to extend the south wall higher because of fire code. We are actually through building codes already and have been approved for everything except for the fact that we're on the lot line, and that's why we had to do the firewall on the south side of the property, and we meet all other requirements per City of Tucson building codes currently. I don't know of anything else that's as you can see, we're just trying to utilize what's there, saving it and enhancing it. So
Okay, I have a question for Jody. It looks like only the renovation of the garage is not agendized, or is it everything? The house and the garage?
It's just the garage.
Yeah, so we'd only be talking about that. So when the neighborhood talked about the glass block, it was glass block only on that one area of the garage, correct?
Correct.
And then there's no stone.
This is the stone.
Yeah, but it's on the house. So what are we reviewing here?
Well, that's the 6-foot porch addition onto the garage, right?
right.
Yeah, so they were originally proposing like stonework here. But
Oh, I see. Okay, that wasn't clear to me originally. I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah, so West University said no stone.
no stone. Okay. And then go over the windows again. So there's something, they wanted something different on the east and west elevations. Are we talking about on the main house?
So they wanted no glass block. The 2-light divided window on the east elevation and a double hung window on the west elevation. Oh, that was to replace.
The glass block that's on the west
Yeah.
elevation right there, and then on my east elevation up high, that's the other glass block we were gonna have, which will now be windows.
Yeah, so they're referencing those 2 windows, and that's what they're saying, a 2-light divided window on the east elevation instead of the glass block, and a double hung window on the west elevation. I think that one was the over the sink one instead of the glass block.
Right. Okay, who's next on questions? Who wants to go next?
I have a question. This is Joel. What was Woozab's thinking on the no stone feature?
They were concerned, I believe, about the kind of it creating a false sense of history. They've had some other like properties that were proposing stone on new construction and stuff like that, and they also weren't recommending that.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
I see.
I
Yeah.
also agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
this wasn't a house, this was a garage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in adding the porch, you're kind of making it look like a house, but it was never a house. So you don't wanna also compound the issue by putting stone there or rock.
And what does the homeowner think of that? I mean, can I hear her argument, or
She's.
I think she's here, isn't she?
Mindy,
In here, the stones were just for me whimsical, but also to put over the areas that are now exposed. They're exposed brick. It is not traditional to have lava rock on the face of any bungalow. And so I'm fine with not putting the rock up.
okay, good.
That was a discussion from the beginning, that it was kind of like yes or no when we did the design.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
This is Ricky. I have a question. So this pillar all the way down, the pillars would just be stuccoed then? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. That is really the only question I think I had. Everything else is pretty straightforward.
Okay, what, Jan, did I already ask you? I'm sorry.
No, my questions have been answered, and I'm comfortable with it, pursuant to the conditions of the West University Advisory Board.
Yeah. Oh, I thought of one. Sorry, I just can't read the plans because my eyes are bad. How much taller are you increasing that wall for that firewall on top of what's already there?
It has to be 16 inches above the ridge line or the roof line for
Okay.
5 foot.
That makes sense.
Okay, Savannah, are you good?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, I'm sorry, but
It's
yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
That's okay. So I agree with the stone veneer, no glass block. The windows are proposed to be that would replace the glass block. Would those be wood?
Yes.
Okay. And then, oh yeah, stucco texture. You're showing an image of a very raw, like basically Adobe texture. What is the actual proposed stucco texture?
It's like a heavy sand finish.
Heavy sand. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that on that main house as well?
Yes.
Okay. Is paint the same color as the main house?
Yes, it will be, yes.
Okay. And then what,
Not 100% sure about that.
Oh,
Because I don't know if I need to bring it to review, but this house has not been painted in 40 years since. But I'm leaning towards the historic white color and the green that is shown on the back house. I can't. I'm a bit tongue-tied right now.
like painting the house green or just leaving it like a lime wash finish?
I'm thinking about painting the the residence that I'm living, like that addition, what we're talking about is going to be the historic white, those colors stay.
okay,
But I'm planning on painting the main house, probably the same historic white with green trim, but I have to make a decision quickly because the painter's going to be here in 2 weeks. But I'm kind of leaning towards adding some maroon and other accents of green. So does that make a difference in the review of the casita?
Well, we're not looking at the main house. We're looking at the house that like the casita that you're renovating. So that's the color that we care about. The color
Oh.
for your main house still has to meet the standards of the neighborhood.
Yes. Right.
But
orange.
regardless of what you're painting your main house isn't going to affect like our ruling on this because we're only supposed to be talking about what you're painting your casita and what you're doing to that.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, and just to clarify, I just wanted to, for context, understand the color selections. I think they're fine. I just wanted to put it on the site and understand it better. And then from just on that note, do you see this casita or this hobby room from any of the streets? I can't tell the
Very hard
visibility
to
of
see
it.
because
I don't know
there's
that
a-
I've seen photos of each of the street views.
it's kind of difficult to see because there's a 6-foot wall around the property.
Okay, there's an existing 6-foot wall
Yes,
on the
all the way around, except, and it returns to the house on both sides, so you really don't see as much as you'd see the roof more than anything from the street.
okay. And are you proposing any rooftop equipment?
No,
Okay.
Possibly in the future solar.
The street view,
that's a different.
you can see
Okay, you do see that.
So Jody, even with the high wall, it's still contributing because someone can stand on their tiptoes or on a stool and look over it.
or on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it from the.
If you're tall enough.
Is
That's-
Beck,
Stool, I would.
well,
So Savannah could see it, but the rest of us forget it, not seeing it.
Oh, okay.
so is
Um,
wait, just to clarify, because the development zone is just are all the structures in the development zone contributing, including this one?
This one is contributing.
Okay. I don't see a map that shows all, but the ones around it are all contributing too.
Jody,
Not,
It's kind of right there on the corner.
Yeah, I can bring it up if you want me to. So I'll bring it up. 9:45 north. Now it's not working. Now it's being persnickety. Right there it is. It's off on my screen. So yeah, here's the house. And all around it are contributing.
okay, but this particular structure is not, right?
They are showing that it's not, yeah.
They're closer to Arizona than the other streets.
Is there a view I didn't see a photo from Arizona. I
That's
think
what
it
I
was
was-
Google. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Google from Arizona.
You can kind of see it.
It's like right here.
So there's another garage there too. Is
It's-
that right, or is that?
Yeah, this is a garage. It's all the
So-
same.
So
that-
is it an issue that this is listed as contributing and it's not, with the little structure, the garage, the tiny building that's being renovated? Or do
Sorry,
you think that's a mistake?
no, the main house is the contributor.
Yeah.
When I
that
listed on the
needs to be
agenda,
mentioned.
is that what you're asking when I listed on the agenda like that?
Yeah, because that's repeatedly a question we have. So really, the garage is not a contributing resource. You
No,
know,
it's the
it
main
just
house.
needs to be mentioned. And then it seemed like the presenter was confused why we were hearing about the house, and the little confusion here, or I could just be tired. So, okay.
No, it was me too. And it's just
I
not
didn't-
in the presentation in terms of what's contributing, what's not. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm confused now too, because there's the older part closer to the house. But then, does it also bleed all the way into the current garage, or is that separate and still a garage, but they're attached?
They're not attached,
They're
no.
not attached.
Okay,
There's a-
oh, so that punch out's on the garage, but not on that other,
Yeah,
That's right.
got it.
okay. All right, so if there are no other questions, would someone be willing to discuss a motion?
Yes.
Is that you, Miss Ricky?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let me, I did not take notes. Give me a second.
Oh, it's because you weren't here. And we can watch you take notes, see you're on your own.
I think it's very similar to the advisory boards, right?
Yeah. So no, no, what is that? Brick? Or is
No,
it technically
no,
lava rock
stone.
or stone?
Yeah, rock veneer.
No.
No rock veneer.
The windows, no glass block windows. Instead, double hung
One,
hung wood windows.
Got the West University pulled up.
Okay.
Ricky, do you wanna know what West University said?
I got it.
Oh, good.
there you go. And I would say instead of removal of the stone features, it is really a stone veneer, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. It's a zone, it was a stone veneer we were putting on, yes.
Okay, I just see mine says no rock veneer and no glass windows. We instead recommend double hung wood windows.
Are you?
Well,
It's on
double
the-
hung on the west, and I think, is it two light
light
divided on the
divided.
east?
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you see it on the screen, Ricky? Let's go with that.
The double, okay. Double hung wood window on the west and two light divided on the east. Okay. So it was just really those two things.
No,
Do
actually,
do I have to say materials consistent with the university guidelines or is it?
I would, because otherwise then I think we need to mention,
With windows and.
yeah, and so the third bullet should be wood windows, right? Two light
So it's-
divided on the east and double hung on the west.
Yeah.
To be clear, there, as I look again, I don't know if I said wood, but as I look again, it doesn't actually say wood.
Right.
West University allows for an aluminum clad window. And yeah, they allow for the aluminum clad wood windows,
So
so
perhaps that
I could
references.
say double hung window on the west and two light divided on the east, matching the
Yeah.
design guidelines per West
Yeah,
University.
Yeah,
that's why they have the design, because they don't allow for vinyl. But they're leaving it open for either wood or for the aluminum clad.
right, and we've been approving those, the clad ones for a while. So,
Yeah, seems fine.
and then is there anything else that we brought up No, is the finish, I mean, is the sand finish, the stucco, is that in the design guidelines? Or do we need to mention that? Because it looked really rough on the drawings, right? Savannah, you would ask about that?
Yeah, I mean, you could say the heavy sand stucco texture. I couldn't read these drawings, so I just wanted to verify that.
Yeah, no.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. All right, so if you're ready, go ahead, Ricky.
On the matter, let me make sure I'm reading the right thing. On the
Bring
matter
that up again,
of
Jen. Bring up those bullets. Thank you.
SD-1223-00136, 528 South 3rd Avenue. Recommend approval as presented with the following notes.
Wait, isn't that the wrong thing?
Yes.
Did I
Yeah.
did pick the wrong thing. Oh, because I scrolled too far. I'm gonna
It's
I'm gonna
reading.
restart. Okay. Got it. On the matter of SD-1223-00144, 945 North 5th Avenue, recommend approval with the following notes: that there's no rock veneer, that there's no glass block windows on the west and east elevation. Instead, that there's a double hung window on the west elevation and 2 light divided window on the east that match the design guidelines per West University. That there's heavy hand stucco texture on the building, and ensuring all other materials that are used are consistent with the West University guidelines.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion?
Can I just note it's heavy sand?
Heavy sand. Did I
Yeah.
say stand?
I said hand, but that could just be me.
Oh, I have it written down as sand, but I may have
Okay.
read it wrong.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Okay, can we make that a silent correction, Jody,
Yeah.
rather than, okay. All right, so, anyway, do we get a second? I'm sorry.
Oh, that was me.
All right, so no further discussion? Okay, not, I'll call roll. Terry says aye. Savannah,
Aye.
Ricky,
Hi.
Joel,
I'm gonna vote aye and thank Mindy for doing this. It's a great project.
and Jan. Great, thank you. So it passes 5-0. Now, applicant or presenter and applicant, do you know what the next steps are? Or would you like Jody to go over those?
Okay, yes, please.
Okay, go ahead, Jody.
So the recommendation of the West University Historic Site Advisory Board and the recommendation of the Plans Review Subcommittee will be forwarded to the Director of Planning and Development Services. They will issue a decision letter. Once the decision letter is ready, it'll be uploaded into EnerGov and you will be forwarded a copy. You will have to revise your plans per any of the conditions noted in the decision letter, and then resubmit them. And then, if it's all consistent, we'll sign off. If you disagree with any of the conditions in the decision letter, you have 14 days to appeal. You appeal, the date of your appeal starts from the date of the signature of our director on the decision letter. During that appeal period, you would bring your appeal over to the city clerk. You would submit your reasons for the appeal, and staff would start to work on it, and we would go to mayor and council. Mayor and council will decide whether or not to uphold the appeal or not. Party of record could also appeal. The party of record is, well, you, the applicant, the property owner, the Plans Review Subcommittee, or the West University Historic Site Advisory Board. If the Plans Review Subcommittee or West University decides to appeal, it can't just be like one person from that committee that appeals. They'll have to hold a special meeting during that 14-day appeal period, and they will vote on the appeal. If they vote to appeal, then they also have to pay the fee. They will also submit to the city clerk their reasons for the appeal, and it'll also go to mayor and council. We don't have a lot of appeals. I've been for 5.5 years I've been here. We've had 2 appeals. So I don't anticipate any appeals, but I have to tell you about that.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody. And that's why we try to really work with you on what, West University said and what we say and so forth. So did you have another question, Peter?
I don't have any, no, I think we're good, and I don't think we're gonna We just now redraw the plans and resubmit to you, correct? That's
Well,
it.
you wait for the letter.
Well, right, okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much, both of you.
All right.
Good luck on the
Thank you,
project.
everyone.
I want to thank all of you. My neighbors are ecstatic that I'm finally taking care of the building.
Yay.
And
Well, good luck with the project.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to item 4, which is National Register of Historic Places nomination. 4A is St. Michael and All Angels Episcopal Church, 602 North Wilmot Road. It's being nominated under National Register Criterion C and Criteria Consideration A. The period of significance is 1953 to 1964. As I understand it, this case is scheduled for review by Historic Sites Review Committee on March 8th of this year, and the CLG is expected to provide comments. So Jody is asking us for comments. Do we think it's ready? Do we, have we looked at everything, like the discussion of integrity, description, whatever. So, because HSRC really and SHPO really appreciate the CLG comments. So, because it is a property here in our community. So, Jody, do you want to give a little background, or do you want to introduce? Is Scott going to present?
Yeah, so this is even though the county folks are here, Ian and Scott, I don't, this isn't a county.
No, it's private.
They are just the ones who put together the nomination. And so since Scott's here, I will let him give you the background. And Scott, if you want to share your screen, I've made you a co-host.
Okay, I'll probably want to share my screen in a minute, but I was actually going to let Ian begin things. He knows the administrative side of it a little better than I do. I wrote the nomination, most of it, with contributions from other people whose names are on the nomination. But Ian, if you want to give some background, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So thanks, everyone. As you know, while not directly tied to Pima County keeps a list of priority cultural resources that we've maintained since its inception with the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan. And as part of our review of our CLG duties, we try to look at properties that are not private properties, but really run by nonprofits or public properties on this list for future listing as part of our CLG. So we encourage and work with nonprofits and public agencies to list properties within Pima County. So this property, coincidentally, I have some personal relationship to because my daughter goes to school there, and I'm actually on the board of trustees, and the church approached me about this process because they've really never understood it, and there was a lot of misconception about what the register does and what the register doesn't. And Bob Vint, who's the architect on record, has always questioned kind of whether he should take it on because he believed so much that it was worthy of nomination. So Scott and I, along with us, kind of assembled a ad hoc team of folks from the school to really work on this nomination, kind of a grassroots up. We tried to involve students, we tried to involve the alumni as a teachable moment, and also to provide a service back to the church, because we really think that this property is exceptional and it's very well deserving of its designation. So that's kind of how the nomination came to be. It was a year-long effort. And we, as part of our kind of shift into our new department in the Conservation Lands and Resources, our mission is to identify a new property and at least list one property each year on the register of our PCRs.
That's great. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
What I could do is I could just run through the photos that we included in the nomination and kind of point out some of the defining features of the Pueblo Revival style, and just to make you get everyone familiar with the building if you haven't had a chance already to look at the nomination, which was I think included in the.
So yeah, hopefully we've looked at it. I have.
Okay. I'm going to try to share this. Let's see. Jody, did you say I could go ahead and share? But
Yeah, you should, I made you co-host, so you should be good to go.
Oh, there we go.
We're
Is that
still just,
appearing? That's appearing?
no,
Not yet.
just you.
I have too many things open, maybe.
There we go. It's coming.
Okay. So the church was designed and built in 1953 by Jostler, of course, and John Murphy was the contractor. And of course, Jostler and Murphy had a long relationship building houses in Catalina Foothills Estates. This was kind of it was a very late, it was the last major project for Jostler. This was 1953. He died in 1956 at age 60. And at that point, Gordon Lupke took over for Jostler. Lupke was one of Jostler's early associates and kind of an apprentice of Jostler back in the 40s when Lupke was starting out. And the primary historic core of the building was designed by Jostler, built by Murphy, but then there were additions made by Lupke later on in the same style. It's Pueblo Revival, which was a style developed in New Mexico in the early 20th century, based on Pueblo Spanish, the sort of Pueblo Spanish amalgam of style that was visible in mission churches throughout New Mexico. Some very notable examples. It became a big deal in Santa Fe as sort of the official style for new and renovated architecture in Santa Fe. Also was big on the University of New Mexico campus early on. And so it was really a New Mexico style. Sometimes it's called the Santa Fe style, but often Pueblo Revival here in Southern Arizona. This was really the only major Pueblo Revival building built by Jostler. It has it's all adobe, and it has the sort of rounded flat roof, rounded parapet look that you see that's very distinctive. A lot of exposed vigas and other wood elements that I'll show. This is the front of the church, which is actually very hard to photograph because of these nice olive trees that have grown up there. This is a little bit better view of things today. You can see some of the wood elements here in what's called the narthex, or the gathering area at the front door of the church. It's a striking building. If you haven't already been there, it's definitely worth a visit. Another view of the facade. The wood doors, these are originals that go back to 1953. This is the gate to the courtyard on the south side of the church, all part of Jostler's original design. And this is the sidewalk leading up to the front doors through the olive trees. Another view. This is within the courtyard. And this area here is part of the cemetery for cremains of parishioners who pass away and are buried there. Just some of the view of the early parts of the church. This is actually a wing of the original church building. This is a wing that was added a little bit later, but was part of Jostler's original plan. And some more views. These are all exposed viga ends on the west side of one of the original wings of the church. These are all classrooms today. They were classrooms as originally built as well. These viga ends are actually not real viga ends. They're just ornamental, but have that viga end look. This is the main body of the church. At the time we took these photos late last year, there were renovations going on, so the different parts of the building are painted different colors, and it will all be painted consistently eventually if it is not already. But this is the original part of the church, which is exposed adobe right here, I think, or no, it's just paint. It was actually exposed at one point when we were there, but that's painted a dark brown. This is part of the addition made by Lupke, and then it extended up into this area, and then there was also an organ chamber added more recently. I can show you on the plan maps how that went. So you can just by the color differentiation, you can see the different stages of expansion of the church.
And the restoration at this time was limited to adobe restoration. It wasn't changing anything structural about the
Right.
building.
Yeah. This is the north end of the church, and this is the organ chamber that was added most recently at the north end. The west side, or excuse me, the east side on the adjacent to the Harold Bell Wright Park. And this is this is the original church in the back. And then this wing is one of the original wings built by, designed and built by Jostler and Murphy. And then the other sides of this courtyard these are additions that were made in later years after 1980. And this is a courtyard with nice treatment of the interior space. But a good thing to emphasize here with this photograph is that all of the later additions really tried to hew to that Pueblo Revival look and materials that Jostler and Lupke had worked with originally. Original church here. This is actually the original sacristy. That was a small room on the east side of the church. And then this over here is a later, the sacristy is just this tiny little room. I guess this was the later, part of the later transept added by Lupke. And a view of the original sacristy, that same area, but underneath the cloister, as they call it there. Here's the interior of the church. Some of the really distinctive Pueblo Revival elements that you see are actually interior. You'll see the sort of stripped log vigas that are exposed, these heavy wood corbels that are embedded in the adobe walls of the church. This is the nave of the main body of the church. And then this is the sanctuary today, which represents the addition in 1964, designed by Lupke. Lupke followed suit with all of the exposed vigas, the corbels embedded in the walls. The walls of the 1964 edition are actually of concrete block, not of adobe. But you would never know that just being in the church. Everything has the same look. This is looking south toward the entrance to the church. Some pipes to the organ are here. Again, the vigas and the corbels are very nice. These chandeliers are made of tin by a local craftsman. They were original to the 1953 construction. The pews as well are all original to the 1953 construction. Looking toward the sanctuary from the south end. A close-up, these are I believe these are all saguaro ribs that were used as latillas between the vigas, and they're exposed, and that's consistent all through the added on part as well. This is the modern sanctuary, the transept, which kind of goes east to west across here. On the west end is this very distinctive cross. So it's actually a crucifix because it depicts Christ on the cross. That was designed especially for the church in 1953. Ellen Murphy, John Murphy's wife, asked an artist in Santa Fe to create this cross. His name was Carl Larson. This is all in the nomination, but he was big on crucifixes and made all kinds of crucifixes of different kinds. And this one was originally in the north end of the nave, the original nave, but they moved it when they created the new sanctuary. They moved it over to the west wall here. A close-up of the better look at the cross. Those are all pieces of glass, about 2 inches thick in a mosaic. Ian, you have to remind me exactly where this is. I guess this is looking down.
So this is looking south from the original east wing of the church down the hallway. And this was actually added on by Lupke, but part of Jostler's original design.
That's right, and the new parish hall designed by Lupke is at the south end of this stretch right here, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. This is just a courtyard, part of the more recent additions, not contributing, but very much in the same style with the exposed vigas, the exposed wood and unmilled beams and so on.
And this is where Bob Vint basically picked it up and is responsible for all of the additions that came after Lupke. except for one small one, but all done in compatible style, in the Pueblo Revival style. And it's striking how seamless it is today. I mean, you would never know the phases of construction and being out there.
And just some more shots of that. What I will show you now, though, is the plan drawings on aerial photos that we made. Let's see here. Okay, do you see that?
Nope, not yet. We're
Okay,
still on the photo, Scott.
okay, let me share. See if I can share the right thing here.
You may need to unshare the photo and then reshare the
I
plan.
guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see that now, I guess.
Yep.
right? Okay.
Perfect.
Just to give you an idea where we are, this is Broadway Boulevard here on the south, Speedway up here on the north. This lightly shaded area is the Harold Bell Wright Estates, which is a residential historic district on the register. This spot right here, which is actually not included in that district, is Harold Bell Wright's house, which is itself on the register, but individually. So this whole development came into existence not long after World War II in the early 1950s. And St. Philip's Church, Episcopal Church, which is, of course, another Jostler property, the church bought this parcel to build St. Michael's as a expansion or sort of auxiliary church to St. Philip's. And this is it today with an overlay of the contributing portions of the building. To zoom in here, this right here is the expanded nave, designed and built in 1964, Gordon Moss Lupke. And then this is the original wings of the church, designed and built in 1953. And then these wings added onto that were part of Jostler's original design, but were built after he passed away by Lupke. And then this area here is the parish hall that was built by Lupke around the same time that the expansion to the church was made. So and we can show a sequence of things a little more neatly than that. Let's see. So this is the footprint of the original church by Jostler. A much smaller nave, the small sacristy on the right side there, the two wings at the south end of the church, and the courtyard wall with the gate here. And of course that survives, but the next step was in 55. One of the wings that Jostler had originally designed was added. And then another wing on the other side by Lupke, and then also the parish hall. And then the expanded church, basically the north end of the original nave was taken out for the expansion. And then this was built in 1980. This was pre-Bob Vint. I've forgotten the architect's name. And then basically everything after that, 1993, was designed by Bob Vint. All these pieces. And that's the final footprint today.
Nice. That's a really nice way to present that. And I appreciate the thoroughness of how you keyed the maps. You know, you're very clear about the integrity, about who prepared the nomination. You wouldn't believe some of the things that we see.
Oh, well, Ian is a whiz with the GIS map, so I can't take credit for that stuff. But
no, but it's a beautiful presentation as far as I'm concerned. I mean, of the whole nomination, very easy to follow. I was impressed with the statement of significance. I like the tight period of significance where, you know, you cover it. I mean, it seems to really, it's totally justifiable to my mind. You know, I don't know what the rest of you think, but anyway, any last thoughts, Scott, or can we take some comments here?
Yeah, no, please, comments or questions.
Okay, I'd like to start with your comments or questions.
No, I can start. This is Ricky. Thank you for the really thorough presentation. I especially like that part at the end where you could see how it was added on, because it made sense with the pictures, but to see that overview I think really helped clarify it since there's so many additions that have happened there.
Oh, we debated just doing one figure, showing all of that on one figure, but it just got too crowded. So we did that sequence and that worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. The period of significance, especially like having seen that map, makes a lot more sense for why you picked that, because there's just been so many additions all the way up through 2017. So I'm in agreement. Just thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, Ricky, thank you so much. I just want to chime in on that. So when we were considering it, the idea is that I think everything that came after Lupke, it's not that it can come into significance as it ages through time, because it's done in such a way that it honors Jostler's original vision and style, but it's distinctive enough and sequenced enough that I think as the property continues to age, we set the property as the boundary as the entire property, understanding that we believe that there's integrity of style that is going to be maintained as it ages, but that we had to work with SHPO to understand, okay, it's one building in terms of the property, but we're showing that the current boundary for the nominated property, not contributing and non-contributing, is that smaller Jostler Lupke footprint. That we can do an amendment to that later on if we needed to, which theoretically you wouldn't, but if we needed to expand it to show a new map of what pieces come in and what age.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to do that just in terms of like even those additional parts that were built later that went off the original plans, that I'm in favor of that. Not that like walking
Ricky
on
has spoken. We're done.
walking on that campus, it does like there are a lot of spots where you couldn't tell that some of that stuff was built like 40 years apart because they kept the style so consistent. But I think this is a good chunk of the building that you picked for this nomination.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Joel, how about you?
Yeah, I love this nomination. I was baptized in this church in 1954. I was one of the first students to start the school in 1958 until I was expelled in 7th grade.
That's great.
And
And we
then
include that in the nomination.
yeah. And then I came back as an assisting priest and served there for 7 years.
Wow.
And it is absolutely, as you say, worthy of a historical designation, not only for its architecture, but for its importance in the community as a leader in issues like civil rights.
Father Fowler.
Yeah. Priest there would take all the kids out of school and would actually take us down to a march and I marched with Martin Luther King Jr. when he was visited because I was in 3rd grade. And Fowler would say, "We don't need no stinking permission slips." He just
That's Fowler.
yeah, it's an important place for Tucson. So I really, yeah.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
I was just going to say that you've only chosen criterion C because usually what the keeper of the National Register likes and what SHPO often suggests is focus mainly on, the one on one, because it doesn't need 2 or more to be nominated, right? And so, but C is clearly very strong, and maybe if you do expand it to the later period, that's the time to add some of this other stuff or some oral history. But
yeah, exactly, Terry, because there's so much more story to tell, but we really wanted to be as concise as possible, leveraging the existing Jostler context.
oh yeah,
But once it's on and as it comes into significance, really start to emphasize the school aspect of it as opposed to the church, and being a mission of St. Philip's, and the school's history really, I think, is where we can broaden into other criteria.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joel. That's a great story. Who's next? Jan, how about you?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate how clear and readable this was. I mean, even though it was thorough, it didn't feel like it was getting bogged down in extra information. And what I really appreciate was that you were so clear about the portions being nominated, because that was a question I had at first with just, you know, a bazillion additions, and this, what at first glance just felt like a patchwork, that you were able to really so clearly delineate both your rationale and how the pieces fit together. And no, great job, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So Savannah, I've left you to last, right?
Yeah, but I'm just gonna echo what everyone else has already said. Unfortunately, I don't have any personal experience like Joel. I haven't been to the site, but I feel compelled to now after reading this. But yeah, the descriptions clear, thorough, obviously well researched and clearly organized. So I appreciated, just like others, the diagrams that really and the photos that really tell the story. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Terry, can I take one moment to just do a little shout to April 12th. The school it's celebrating its 65th year this year, and the church is celebrating its 75th anniversary. But April 12th, we're going to be doing an open event to the public, and we're organizing right now to really honor the church and the school and the legacy, and we're going to be offering tours and so forth. So keep the date, and I'll keep you guys posted as we organize the event.
Well, sounds good. Ian, my grandsons, two of the four currently go to All Saints up in Phoenix. So you know the
Oh
whole
yeah,
campus
great.
school thing, and you gotta love those uniforms.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
they behave too when they're in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what I'd like to ask for now is a motion, saying that we agree, whatever. It sounds like we are supporting the nomination, encourage that it be accepted, maybe say that we agree with the criterion C and, whatever, but just something very nice so that the county can include our comments. Now, what would you like to do? Include you'll write a letter, but will you include something from the motion or whatever?
I can write a letter. It'll just, I mean, the basic, you guys really don't have any corrections like usual, so it'll just be, like you said, encourage, acceptance, well written, great nomination all around. Yay, yay, yay.
So, but we need somebody to say that. Who will it be?
Oh, I'm just saying I'll write that in the
I
letter.
just want to volunteer Joel because he was like one of the first to go there.
Yeah, I'd love to, I would love to make that motion.
Okay, go for it, Joel.
So I move that the Plans Review Subcommittee endorse the nomination due to the excellence of the presentation, the choice of criterion C. What else do I need to include, Terry? And the
Thorough history.
Yeah, clear statement of the significance, integrity, and other aspects of the nomination or something.
Those were exactly my words.
Okay, very good. All right, is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Thank you, Ricky.
Okay, and then what we would do, Jody, is because he didn't actually mention the name of the church, you can put that in brackets because it's heard. Joel is so motivated there.
Yeah.
So, okay, any other discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and call roll. Terry votes aye. Joel?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Jan?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Wonderful job, you guys. What a way to end a PRS thing. Thank you.
Thanks everyone very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for the chance.
And both you guys are going to present up at HSRC, right?
We
Yeah,
will.
we'll both go, yeah.
Good, so I get to see you again. So,
Yeah.
yay.
Good deal.
Thanks,
All right.
Terry. Thanks everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, item 5 is Task Force on Inclusivity Report Recommendations. 5A is discussion on best practices for naming of city and county owned physical assets. I told you that I would work on this when I was in England. I got as far as locating all of my files. So, but it will be soon. It will be soon. And Jody, I'll let you know as soon as possible. so that we can figure out the best agenda for it, right?
Okay,
And then Ricky, I'll be in touch with you. Carol said she would look at it again, even though she's off, and that would be fine with me.
Okay.
So, all right. Item 6 is current issues for information discussion. We have 6A minor reviews. Michael, what do you have for us?
Yes, I'm here, Madam Chair. I have two minor reviews that are set to be scheduled. Ricky has offered to help us with those reviews. The first one is at 820 East University, which is for a fence in West University. And the second one will be 1042 North 5th Avenue, which is for a solar installation. So I will be contacting Ricky for that review. That's what I have for minor review this time.
So did we have any other ones to report?
I have other ones that I'm working on, but they're not ready. They're not yet ready for it.
Okay. But they were not conducted since our last meeting, right?
No, the ones that we had last week, they were just signs that I had already reported.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 6B is appeals.
We do not have any appeal at this point in time, Madam Chair.
6C zoning violations.
We have one case of zoning violation that is scheduled to be reviewed by AMPAC, I believe next week, which is at 327 East 13th Street for a fence. And we are working on other zoning violation cases. As soon as they get ready, we are going to take them through the advisory board and bring them up to you for your review.
Okay. 6D, review process issues. Does anyone want to raise anything?
I will look at clarifying contributing versus not contributing on the lot. And how to put that in the agenda.
Okay, I had also thought maybe that it was an incomplete description of the project title, but I mean, it's, you know, I think that would be great if you did that, or at least, and also mention it in the, you know, in your little intro.
Yeah, it's, just so you know, when I'm working on agendas, I'm usually putting out potentially 2 to 3 agendas at one time. So they're all, like, I'm slamming agendas for you guys and for the advisory boards. But I will definitely look at a way to kind of clarify that. Sometimes I do forget.
Okay, no, and I appreciate you getting this out in time for us to look at, and, you know, it took, you know, it took a commitment to look at the nomination, you know, just to get the full view of it and stuff, so thank you. 6D is review, again, we've reprocessed. Anything else? I just want to say that, so after next week, when we have the full commission meeting, we'll be down officially to 5 members. Are we okay with that for a while? That would make our quorum 3. So that would give, Savannah's the one that mostly recuses, right? Well, I mean, because you're an active architect, so it's not, you know, it's normal. So I think we would still be fine. Don't you think, Jody? I mean, if we see,
I think so. Yeah, I think so. As long as nobody gets sick. So, yeah,
I'm still here, okay?
You're still here. I mean, like, really sick, like.
no, but you can be.
I was really sick 2 days ago. I panic texted my co-director at 3 a.m.
No, but remember, Rick, I've made you actually be on the meeting when you had COVID. So this woman, I didn't know that, but we need you, get on the meeting. So, but anyway, thank you very much, everyone. And item 7 is summary of public comments. Were any received by the deadline?
We did not receive any public comments.
Great, thank you. Item 8.
Yeah, have review process issues. Did we forget about the training?
No, that's on staff updates. Don't we have a staff update? Don't I have a staff update?
Not here.
Oh, my computer died. I like don't have my agenda anymore.
You don't have stuff.
Oh, no, future things. We can talk about it. Well, review process issues, if you want to go back to that one. We have scheduled training for the advisory boards. We have 2 training dates. They are, February 28th and March 2nd. So we have a Wednesday night and we have a Saturday mid-morning training. We've notified all of the advisory board members and hopefully, this time around, everybody will show up. We have an agenda to go over the usual items like, conflict of interest, recusing yourselves, open meeting laws, and when not to reply all to everybody. Which is never reply all to everybody on emails. The development zones, because there is some back and forth about where the development zone is and some confusion. And then just some other general items. So we're working on getting that all together, but we do have it scheduled for later this month. Oh, Michael is not there.
Okay, since we're back on review process, any other comments? No? Okay, we did 7.
Well, just to clarify, this is just the advisory boards, this isn't the same training that everybody else with that.
It's no, that's the secretary, but PRS members, it is an open meeting, you are welcome to attend.
I will, is it a separate thing, is it the same thing?
It's separate, we are required for the advisory boards for the code to actually do training.
Okay.
We have done training before, but with the COVID and everything like that, we haven't done it for a little bit. So you PRS members, I will forward the calendar invite. So if you're wanting to come and hear about how to not reply all to everybody on the email and figure the development zone, don't shake your head, that sounds very exciting.
We will comment that you come.
Yeah.
Is that an in-person meeting or is it like a Zoom?
In person.
Okay.
No, but in the past, Jody, sometimes PRS members went and, supported staff and just sat there and waved at the, made nice and sometimes had examples. And so, we could practice our way.
I would
Okay.
like to go to the February 28th one.
I'll send you the calendar invites so you guys have it.
Yeah.
Calendar invites, I will send those over to you.
Okay, and I think that the training that the commission's planning is somewhat different. It's broader, but
Yeah.
everyone who hasn't responded to that survey, you should if you haven't. But I think the deadline's over. But
I'm not involved in the commission training. Surprising.
so volunteer, Jody.
I don't know what it's, I know nothing about the commission training.
Well, I don't know totally, but I will know soon. So we will ask you for your feedback. All right. What other agenda items do we have under 8 for next time on the 22nd?
So for the 22nd, I will not be here. Michael will be running the meeting. As Michael will be running the meeting, we've gone over all the electronic stuff, so he should have it down pat. At this point, I think for that meeting, we could have some stuff that comes forward from one of the advisory boards, but right now we have 15 North Santa Rita, which is in the Sunshine Mile. And they are making it into a wine bar. I think it's a wine bar. And so that'll be on your agenda for the 22nd.
Is that guy with the windows coming back?
One of these days, we've emailed.
And what about 3C? Oh, that's it. That's 3C?
Coming after.
So 3C, I must have been doing this right before my flex day and I saw it come in and I was like, oh, this is perfect because I'm working on the agenda right now. And I put it on the agenda and whipped out my agenda and got it out. And then we figured out that it's not this review, he's going for a CDRC review. And so eventually it'll come to you, but not right now.
Okay. All right. So
I thought I was so ahead of the game and I.
And is Herb Stratford still supposed to be presenting to us?
Oh, yes, on the 22nd, you're correct.
Okay.
He is also going to provide an informational session on the rehab work that he did at the Fox Theater.
Alright, yeah.
No opinions on the new construction, just a informational session.
Right,
Thank you.
and
Date from the 2000s.
yeah,
Yes.
and it's going to give that to you to put up in the info.
I haven't received anything from him, like the PowerPoint or whatever.
Do you want to send him a reminder?
Yeah, I'll send him a reminder.
Yeah. Because it'd be good, for me to review to see if there's anything, we don't want any like things slipping in there.
I mean, he seems to, he remembers better than I do.
Yeah.
I should laugh about it.
But I had mentioned that, and you had mentioned it when we were talking to Jen. So, okay, very good. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and adjourn at 2:41. And I really appreciate everyone. And it's a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.